and some kids would dive and hit the granite, split their heads, die instantly.
Jeez.
Some of the bodies they never found. Most of the people who went quarry jumping were fine.
Which one?
You know, they behaved in a safe manner, but you know, you always get that daredevil in your class.
The daredevil.
Yes. I don't remember this square being here. I was crossing the street once we got here.
Okay.
Quincy is 1625. So you're 4 years ahead of us. What's the year of the church? Is the same year?
The building itself is 1828.
Is it a vocation?
We only need this in the crypt.
Okay.
This is actually the 4th edifice.
I have to tell you, I had horrendous teenage years, and I lived in Braintree on the Quincy line, down where Franklin becomes commercial by Ross School. Used to take the bus down here. There was no red line down there, and I would talk to John Quincy Adams. Years went by. My teenage angst, the poor man heard everything. And one day I heard this voice behind me, and there was a tall, dark gentleman who said, "You know, he's not buried there, do you?" And he worked here. And he took me down to the crypt and said, "Here they are. You want to talk to them now?" And I'm like, "No, that's okay." And that was my last visit. So 50 years later, here I am. So what can you tell me about the church?
Well, the church was built in 1828. And
Is this its first location?
no, this is the 4th edifice.
Yep.
And it's probably the 3rd location.
Yep.
The first location was somewhere up in the center of Quincy.
Okay.
And it was called the Chapel of Ease.
Okay.
And the reason for that was because at that time it was Puritan congregational, and they had to go into Boston to go to services.
Yep.
And it was a little bit inconvenient, so they wanted to have their own church.
Oh.
So they were allowed to build a Chapel of Ease.
Yep.
And that was replaced at one point with a more substantial chapel, which didn't last long because they outgrew it.
Okay.
And they built the Hancock Meeting House.
Okay.
And then they built this in 1828.
Now, was that Aunt Hancock's father that was involved with that, or was it
John
your predecessor?
Hancock's father was the minister, and that
Yeah.
was the reason that they called it the Hancock Meeting House.
Now, we have similarities to you in that we're on our 5th location.
Okay.
All pretty much in the same place except for the last one, which was late 1800s.
Okay.
And we were the first church, our minister says we were the first church. Everybody fights over it. But we were ruled by our congregation first. We didn't answer the Church of England or Boston or anything. We decided things ourselves. But yeah, 5th location, so similar things.
So is it Unitarian as well?
It's Unitarian,
Okay.
yes.
Well, it started out as Puritan congregational, and Reverend Wheelwright was the first minister, and that was back in 1636. He was a little bit too outspoken.
Oh, we had Roger Williams,
So
he didn't last long.
He was banished and went to Exeter, New Hampshire.
Wow.
And then his sister-in-law, Ann Hutchinson, she was also a little bit too outspoken, so she was banished, and she went down to Rhode Island following Roger Williams.
Oh, there you go.
So
Yeah, we were the bad guys of the witch trial. That's terrible. We banished a lot of people. We forgave them about 10 years ago, but I don't think they cared at that point.
Alexander Paris actually designed this building. He actually designed
So familiar.
Quincy Marketplace at
Okay,
Daniel Hall,
okay.
and he designed the Cathedral of St. Paul on Tremont Street,
Okay.
and he also designed Plymouth Hall,
Oh,
Pilgrim
wow.
Hall. And if you take a look at the
It's
ceiling, this is probably the most ornate of all the vaulted ceilings in any of his buildings. But
Look at
the
that.
flower in the center is a passion flower.
Can we take a picture?
Oh
of
yeah,
that?
take all the pictures
Here,
you
can
want.
you
Yeah.
take a picture of the Rosetta? Technically call it
That's a passion flower,
Oh, cool.
and these are all lotus blossoms.
That's
It's
beautiful.
all
Look at
original
that.
plaster.
And do you still hold services here?
Yes, we do.
So you get to look at this on
Yeah.
Sundays. Oh, that's wonderful.
And I'm a member here. So.
Okay, cool. Deacon or?
No,